second board being held up because they run on road tyres. They don't have to have a green flag lap. So the red lights come on and the lights go out, and well, the best away is James Gunn Carter initially, but then the rear engine or mid-engine Lotus of James Tucker gets its grip, but they're still side by side as they head down into Redgate. They're still level, the BMW on the inside line, and James Gunn Carter it is who has the advantage, but the Lotus, the more nimble, and sliding sideways in the middle of the not in the middle of the pack, in fact in third place. Eventually somebody biffs him, but hopefully there's kind of a multicoloured chicane now in the middle of Redgate as cars are sifting their way past. It was a spinner, a red car that was it was the parking car that won the previous race that spun sideways. Right, so whilst that sorts itself out, Mark, we'll go back for the final podium.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we'll move on with the podium for Class S very quickly then. Onto the podium, well done. It was not a race without the odd issues along the way, but third place still in Class S goes away of Steve Gales. Is he here? He's not here, right, okay. So we'll quickly press on then with the second place driver pairing in Class S. That was Hugh Gurney and Colin Tester. Well done, gentlemen, as they make their way onto the podium, finishing as the runners-up in Class S. But the overall race winner and the win in Class S goes the way of Darren Goes, who heads onto the podium now as our final driver from the MSVT Super Cup to receive his trophy from Simon. Back to you, Ian.
No, you can have a word with Darren because we're going in a safety car situation, obviously.
Okay. So, trophies presented. We've got the opportunity of safety car coming out, Darren, so we can have a chat with you as the winner of the first, as it's now badged for this year, MSVT Super Cup. You were saying earlier on sort of different tyres on that car, but I gather you'd sort of changed them for the race.
Yeah, these are actually the same tyres we had in qualifying, and it makes a huge difference in the second parts of the race. But where it really came into our hands was when the rain came down, and we pitted during the heavy rain, and I think that helped us massively.
In the early stage of the race, it was the BMW in the hands of Colin Tester, as it was at the time, that had the upper hand.
Yeah, it had absolutely no chance. He was just pulling away, and it was quite demoralising, actually. But we kept in there and kept going.
And Steve Gales was in your mirrors for a while. You didn't realise, but he had sort of two trips to the pits back to back, and from then you're sort of plain sailing.
Yeah, that's right. He was catching me on the last chicane before coming in to the front straight, and I didn't realise how much curb you were actually allowed to take there, so we changed that halfway through.
Good start to the season for you.
Absolutely enjoying it.
There we go, very well done. Oh, Steve Gales has made it, so we will introduce him now. Third place in Class S, a little bit late with it, but Steve Gales is here. There is a trophy. Oh, Simon's here, look. Simon's got your trophy, so let's do it properly while we got the safety car. There is the trophy now, being presented to Steve Gales. Shakes the hand of Simon Nana Pramangasang and gets the bottle of bubbly as well. So there we go, we did get through them all. That's our drivers at the top three in each class for the MSVT Super Cup.
Yeah, well done, Mark. Helped by the safety car, which is still out. Because we do, yes, it's the car that slid sideways. It was in third place. It started on the second row of the grid. The car that won the track day championship race, the number 113 car, but it was Scott Parkin driving in the early race, and his brother Ryan. Will they speak to each other? Who slid sideways, and most drivers, because they were all going relatively slowly, most were able to miss it, but eventually, inevitably, the grid as large as this, which in the end only had one non-starter. 117 was on the grid, so just 76, so it was 37 cars, or minus 2 which are in the lead, but 35 cars pouring round Redgate, and eventually somebody did actually touch the car of the Parkins, Ryan Parkin, the start driver in the car. The snatch vehicle's now there, so let's look at what the order is behind the safety car in terms of how they compare with the grid positions. In the lead from pole position, number 4, James Gunn Carter. They had a real dash to the first corner against the number 2, Lotus Elise of James Tucker. And in third place, it's still in second place. Third is Jordan Honeybone, number 44, who started on row 3, but he's in third place. In fourth place from the fourth row is number 93, which is Lewis Denslow, starting in the Ford Fiesta. In fifth place is number 13, who started on row 7. That's Dylan Brichter, who's come up into fifth place, number 30. Obviously some were impeded more than others by the spun Seat ahead of them across the track. And so Dylan Brichter made his way up into fifth place, number 13. In sixth place, number 34, That's Tim Evans to start with, and where did he start? He started on the second row, so he obviously got held up a bit on that opening lap. Well, the first corner. In 7th place is 57, Nick White, who started on row 3. In 8th place, number 126, Cameron McLean, who started on row 5. In 9th place, number 68, George Wright in the Porsche, which they obviously were able to fix. Well, hopefully they've been able to fix for the race. It's there on the track in the moment. At the moment, in 9th place, number 68, the Porsche that started on the 6th row, 12th in qualifying. And in 10th place, we have number 77, which is Jamie Ward, who's already been out and won his class once in the KJL Motorsport Ford Fiesta. He started on the 9th row, and he is currently in 10th place and leading his class again, Class D. So there's the top 10. That's looking at the screen, and I think the snatching out of the way of the number 113 Sass is complete, and so the race will be able to resume this time through. But there's going to be a huge amount of shuffling going on, I would have thought, to improve positions. But full marks to James Gunn Carter. When you spoke to him this morning, Mark, gave the impression that he hasn't actually done very much racing, and be delighted just to get in to the top 10 almost.
It was, yeah. He said, as far as he was concerned, he just wanted to start towards the front, so to be on pole. He said he almost wasn't bothered, was he, what happened from there, because he'd already achieved more than he could ever have wished.
But then going into the first corner, I don't know how much you were able to look whilst you're on the podium, but going into the first corner, he certainly held his own against James Tucker. And came out in front, and it was the mayhem that broke out behind. Considering the conditions and the one car that was causing the obstructions, they all came through the corner. They did very well, just the one car making contact with the spun Seat. So are we going to get the safety car in this time, or will they need one more lap? Yeah, we're going to have one more lap by the looks of things. Yes. So the marshals down at Redgate had come out again. There must have been a bit of gravel on the track, or for some reason anyway. They're going back behind the barriers, so it rather looks as though this is going to be the last safety car lap, and then they can resume racing. This enormous grid that is being led around Redgate as the tail enders are still coming out of or coming through the chicane. In fact, the last place car is coming into the chicane now as the leaders go to Hollywood. Well, we reckon 37 cars started. Somebody we didn't see very much of. I don't think it's still circulating, number 139. That may well have been involved in the incident, and it's gone behind the trees, so I can't see it. 139 being Paul McHugh with the Honda Civic Type R. That's not come round, but it was on the grid. So 113 and 139. The two cars not circulating, 113 being the red Seat that spun. So 35 cars still in the race. Stop window opens with 15 minutes run, and of course the time is ticking away now. We've got just under 36 minutes to go. Yes, the man with the flags got the green flag in his hand. The pace car peels into the pit lane, and racing can resume. Let's hope they all get round Redgate okay this time. The two leaders then pulling out a gap already over the pursuing pack, and the BMW quicker into the corner than the Lotus, as you might expect, quicker through the corner, closes the gap down, so they're nose to tail as they go into the Craner curves. I think everybody being suitably circumspect as they go into Hollywood. What about the two leaders? Here they are at the old hairpin, I can see on the screen, and I think that James Gunn Carter is just about fending off the Lotus as they turn through Schwantz Curve. He had to work hard to do it coming out of the old hairpin, now going through McLean's. I think it's only a matter of time before the Lotus takes the lead. But James Gunn Carter, who's going solo, where of course James Tucker is handing over. Nose to tail as they come out of Coppice onto the exhibition centre straight. And into the chicane. It's still the BMW in front, and James Gunn Carter in the middle of the road now, so he can move left or right depending on which way the Lotus tries to go to take the lead, but he doesn't have to worry about it this time. He can just take the quickest line into the corner. That's where the car's quicker than on turn in, but as they get through the corner, the superior road holding of the Lotus enables it to close up. In third place we've got Jordan Honeybone. No change of the position actually happening here. In fourth place is 93 Denslow. In fifth place 30 Richter. Sixth place is 34. Sixth place number 34, which was started by Tim Evans. And in 116 in 10th place, that's the car we've seen out already in the Track Day Championship race, Sam Gay is running in 10th place. That's the car that Colin Tester will be taking over when he's had a lie down after his efforts in the previous race. So James Gunn Carter in the BMW led on to this sixth lap and still has the lead, doing a great job here fending off the Lotus. Jordan Honeybone still third, with riding right behind him, number 90. Now, 93, I mean, that's the number 93 car of Lewis Denslow in the Big Skids Racing Team car, which I think is probably the same car that we saw going so well up into second place of Kester Cook in the earlier race. Mark might be able to check this one out. Certainly looks like the same car, same livery, same team, just two different drivers in it for this one. And that car going well. That's number 93 in fourth place. Dylan Brickton, number 13, is fifth. Sixth is 34 Tim Evans. In seventh place is 57 Nick White's Renault Clio. In eighth place, number 126 Cameron McLean. Ninth is George Wright's Porsche, and 10th is 116 Sam Gay with the Honda Civic. Looking to see who is gaining significant numbers of places. Well, up to 20th place has come 98. That's a gain of a couple of places. Charlie Palk with the Renault 182, Renault Clio 182. 39 has dropped down to the tail end of the field now. That's the red Toyota MR2, or Mr. 2 as the programme has it, of Malcolm Scott and Ben Cater. Through have gone the leaders. And certainly James Gunn Carter is holding his own at the moment. He's just done another new fastest lap. He's got a lead of 1.1 seconds over the Lotus of James Tucker. Little group going through their 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th running close together. In 11th place at number 82, Paul Hatton with the FAT Racing Team Ford Focus. Or should I say P-Hat Racing, FAT Racing, whichever. Good to see the Peugeot 205 is out, number 28, which disappeared into the paddock quite early on in qualifying. That's the oldest car in the race, the 1990 Peugeot 205 of Blair Craig. But now we've got to the point where such is the size of the entry, the speed of the different types of car, that we now have cars spaced out around the circuit. Drive-through penalty for two cars, 39 and 59. 39 is Malcolm Scott, and 59 is Kev Bird. This is for flag infringement. I suspect that they overtook under a yellow flag. Right, on that lap, the gap's come down again, first to second. James Tucker has closed in on James Gunn Carter. Maybe a consequence of the back marker that had to be lapped. The pit window is now open, and the first car in is the blue Porsche, the 944 Series 2. George Wright to hand over to son Jack.
Yeah, Jack was the quicker of the two drivers generally, but didn't really have the opportunity to show that in qualifying. Such were the problems with what they originally thought was gearbox. But again, chatting to Jack when he brought the team kit into the pit lane prior to the start of the race, it was actually a drive shaft issue with that car. It's not the only car to pit though, because in comes car number 199 as well, Gary Cooper at the wheel of his Fiesta ST. So they're the only two for the moment that are in the pit lane.
Yeah, so early stoppers can do it. Well, George Wright has got a lot of experience of these races, and reckoning that you get in early before everybody else comes into the pit lane, you don't get impeded, so he'll be able to send Jack out into the race. Well down the order, yes, but with no need to stop again. Where you get caught out is if we have to have a safety car situation, but hopefully that won't arise. We've had our safety car. So 39 and 59 having to take drive-through penalties. But as Mark says, very few cars coming into the pits at the moment. There's 116 through. Dylan Richter is in the middle of a little battle with two cars that have just changed places. Up into 7th place has come number 57, Nick White, and down to 8th has dropped number 126, Cameron McLean. The Toyota MR2, which has a drive-through penalty, has come in as well, but you can't combine a penalty stop with a mandatory stop, so he's going to have to do it again. Of course, being a single-seater racer, he hasn't encountered this sort of thing before. Malcolm Scott. Anyway, he's climbing out of the car. It doesn't look as though he's about to go out again. 24, the little Peugeot, that's the Ford Fiesta in number 24, Alex Bowman. James Gunn Carter still hanging on in the lead by less than half a second last time through. And he's now lost the lead. The number 2, James Tucker, Lotus Elise, is now in front. Well, that was a consequence of traffic, but whatever. It's now a swap around for the two Jameses in the first two places. Yes, Mark?
Yeah, Jack Wright heads out onto the circuit at the wheel of the Porsche that had its drive shaft woes in qualifying, but that's not the only issues you've had throughout the course of the day with the Porsche, George.
No, it gets better or worse, as I should say. Yeah, fuel gauge isn't working, so we lifted the sender unit out. Seemed to be overflowing, so we thought, that'll do, we'll just go out with that. Didn't cotton on, we hadn't put any fuel in it since last year at Zandvoort.
That's not good, is it?
Well, I think maybe the Christmas present from my wife might have been fuel or something, but turns out it must have been a pocket of fuel for the sender, and we're now about to run it dry. And we got up to 6th place, and it was going well, except for the fuel surge.
So he's just going to run it until it runs out?
Well, I came in as soon as the pits is open, because Jack's had a 2-hour drive down here to get a bit of seat time. So I got in as soon as I could and just sent him out, bless him.
It might be a difficult journey home. You're sharing the car home together. You're not, are you, thankfully?
No, thankfully.
Okay. Thanks for the update, George. So, yeah, problems still existing with the Porsche, I suspect, and it might not see the checkered flag in.
Well, that's the best reason I've heard for coming in early, because you want your other driver to at least drive the car before it runs out of fuel. So it's gone through anyway. He's got one lap in. This is the blue Porsche with a pair of orange wheels and a pair of yellow wheels. And into the pits comes the 56. The number 56 Ford Fiesta. Chris Walton spooled to hand over to Will Arif, presumably. So James Tucker having taken the lead in the Lotus Elise. We've got the car that Colin Tucker's going to take over, coming in. Colin Tester, I mean.
Yeah, Dylan Brichter is coming in. Colin Tester is about to take over that car from Sam Gay. And as for the expected change of driver, Chris Walton Spall to Will Arif, I think he was actually serving his drive-through penalty at that point because Will was waving him down. But no, Chris had other ideas and just went all the way through pit lane, back out into the race. So yeah, Sam Gay in to hand over to Colin Tester. Dylan Brichter in at the wheel of the sole remaining Seat Ibiza, which on the front valance of it has got a big sort of bite taken out of that one, so he has some issues as well, possibly at the first corner.
56 isn't shown on the screen as having a penalty, but you may well be right. Safety car, I'm afraid, is coming out. Pick up the leader, safety car, no, just pick up anybody. But the leader is in fact the Lotus number 2 of James Tucker. So the safety car on track. So we can find out where that might be, or for why that might be.
Yeah, and the race leader is in, so into the pit lane comes our race leader, and also James Gunn Carter as well, so the Lotus and the BMW Compact both in to the pit lane, now both at the very top of pit lane as well, so pit lane entry, and of course for James Gunn Carter, he can sort of just sit behind the wheel of the car whilst the mechanic adjusts and checks the tyre pressures and then crack on with it, whereas for the Lotus, of course, it's a change of driver. James Tucker getting out, Paul Tucker scheduled to get in. We've also got Jordan Honeybone coming in, he's at pit lane entry end as well, the number 44 Apple Car Centre Renault Clio that's about to be taken over by his father Ray Honeybone. They were going really well in the race earlier on in the Track Day Championship, but they lost a lot of time in the pits because Ray came into the pits. As soon as he got to pit lane entry, he hit the start button on the stopwatch, he got out of the car and was busy strapping Jordan in, looked back down to see how much time there was, and he must have double pressed the start button on the stopwatch because it said 1 minute and 59 seconds still to serve, so they had no idea how long they'd been in the pits, and they think they lost about 30 seconds with that error.
Oh dear, right. Well, now I think I've found out where the car is. It's a car that's gone off coming down through the Craner curves into the gravel. It's not hit anything except the gravel, so it's a question of getting it dragged out of the gravel. That may take a couple of laps. So that's why everybody else has come. Obviously, it's a sensible tyre under the safety car for everybody else who's got to make the pit stop to make it. There will still be cars following the safety car, though, because they've already made their pit stop. But the two, as Mark said, the two leaders came in at the same time. And coming into the pits now, number 98 Clio and 72 Clio and 144. Yeah, all the other cars. 117 that we were told was a non-starter, that's out there, that's just coming down the pit lane. Two that haven't yet stopped, numbers 93 and 34 coming in now. And I think another yet to stop. Yeah, the little, oh, that's got a problem. That's I think probably the car's gone off actually, that's not yet come in, but it's shown with the incident symbol on the screen. So it's 93 and 34. Now 93, Mark, I heard to mention this, I think this is the car that Kester Cook drove in the earlier race. It was going very well in that race and also going well in this race, and it's surprising it hasn't yet come in. Lewis Denslow at the wheel then leads the way. The recovery of that car in the gravel at the Craner curves, the end of the Craner curves just before the old hairpin, that seems to have been completed with the usual marshal's efficiency. Pit window remains open, but I think everybody now, just about apart from the two leading cars, 93 and 34, has been in. Safety car staying out for another lap, with 93 still staying out.
Yeah, but Tim Evans is coming in, this time at the wheel of the number 34 Honda Civic, so Simon Toolan is there, ready to receive the Honda. Also number 50 heading down a pit road, which is the Petra Becker Ford Puma that is about to be handed over to Mike Rogers. That is sort of midway down pit lane, and also the number 59 car in, which was Kevin Bird. That was one of the cars, if memory serves me correctly, that was scheduled to take a drive-through penalty at some stage.
Yes.
And he is indeed taking that penalty now, by the look of things. Down towards the bottom of pit lane he goes, but the red lights are on, so he's got to wait for the field on the opposite side of pit wall to pass before the lights go green, and then he can finish his drive through. They go green, he will head back out onto circuit.
He'd already made his mandatory stop, that car, 59, so that's the second stop for that one. So still 93 is yet to stop. Now he's reliant on the... He's going to have to come in this time, I would have thought, and immediately he's going to drop way down the order. Although most of the cars are a lap down, so he's not going to fall, perhaps not immediately, but fairly soon he'll drop down the order. And the lead will then be taken over, I reckon, by number 4. Yeah, James Gunn Carter. With second is Ray Honeybone in number 44, so it's 4 from 44. Those two cars ready to go. Darren Brichter is next up in number 13. Then we've got 126. So the Lotus has dropped down to 5th place, I reckon, of those who've made their stops. But we'll have a better idea next time through. And the safety car has got its lights out, so it's coming into the pit lane. And racing can resume, and straight away 93 comes in. Strange. Why didn't stop under the safety car? With some cunning plan, presumably. Anyway, the pack is descending on Redgate, exchanging paint, some of them. But I think they're all going to get safely through. Mark, you've got 93 there.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, I just had a quick chat to Kester Cook. It is indeed his car. It is the same car as earlier on. So the driver change just taking place now. So Lewis Denslow gets out of the car, and Craig Sampson is just about to be pushed into this car. And of course, they probably picked the wrong time, haven't they? Just as the race goes green again to come into the pits, and that's going to compromise the run of that car for the rest of the race.
Well, we'll see how long the stop. Yeah, they're going to be past it because the safety car, I just can't see why they left it that late. So next time through we'll get a clear impression of who the real leader is. And we have 16 and a half minutes to go. There's quite a lot of shuffling of positions going on down at Redgate on the restart. And it is the BMW number 4, James Gunn Carter, that leads, and leads by quite a lot actually. Ray Honeybone in pursuit. And then we've got Dylan Brichter in 4th place. Now what this does actually is put them on the same lap so they haven't yet got the lead. So it could be this ploy is going to work for them, because if that car gets out, it's going to be it's going to be leading. So the cunning plan may actually work. They've thought it through more than I have. So James Gunn Carter is in fact in 2nd place, but now on the same lap as the number 93. Now Craig Sampson, Ford Fiesta. And James Gunn Carter is quite a long way back. We'll get a better fix on that next time through. And with only 15 minutes to go, I reckon the ploy's worked. Here it comes. And the gap first to second, 93 to 4. No, it doesn't work. No, I was misreading the screen. So James Gunn Carter has actually taken the lead, and my first thoughts, without looking at the screen too carefully, was that James Gunn Carter would have the lead, and he has, and 93 is dropping down the order. So James Gunn Carter leads from Ray Honeybone by 4.5, nearly 5 seconds. Dylan Brichter, number 13, is 3rd. 4th is 126, Cameron McLean. 5th is 116, now Colin Tester. 6th is the number 2, Lotus, now driven by Paul Tucker. And 7th is 77, the Volkswagen Golf of Jamie Ward. In 8th place is number 107, now driven, still driven by Ben Corby. In 9th place, number 31, Howard Hunt. and in 10th place, number 57, Nick White.
Well, now you've got through the top 10, I'll grab a quick word with Lewis Denslow, who has been driving Kester Cook's car for the first time. We've seen you out in a Ford Fiesta in the past, but this one's a little different, I gather.
It is, it's a lot different. Unfortunately, it's still going round. That's the difference, because the yellow one is parked up the side of the track, unfortunately. But it's a huge different car, completely different discipline. The turbo's got so much power and torque everywhere, and the gear changes instantly. It's fantastic.
Because it's sequential, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I want one.
It seemed as though you sort of, tactically, you left it too late to come into the pits, but that was always the plan, I gather, 50-50.
No, we're sharing the drive today, so win or lose, it was going to be 50-50. Yeah, as much as I can say, really.
A bit of fun today. You've sold your old car, so are you building a new one, or are you just going to be utilising Kesters for the rest of the year?
No, I'm currently, it's actually at the roll cage shop right now, having a roll cage welded into it, and intercoolers and radiators and all sorts of cool gadgets added to it, but should be back to be a Mark III Ford Focus.
Look forward to seeing that.
Top man, thank you very much.
There we go, that's the update on the number 93 car. It was driven by Kester Cook earlier on. We've just spoken to Lewis Denslow. It's now in the hands of Craig Sampson.
In 21st place it is. So the tactic didn't work. Up into 15th place, the only mover on that lap, number 117. Charles Harvey's Honda Civic, that's come up into, as I say, 15th place. Otherwise, no change. And the man who said he'd just be happy with a position near the front is pulling away in front. James Gunn Carter at the number 4 BMW. Now 6.3 seconds ahead of Ray Honeybone in number 44. With number 13, Dylan Brichter's Seat Ibiza in third place. There's the leader through, completing now 18 laps. The two cars behind him have been lapped, and in fact the number 13 Seat now up into second place, got ahead of Ray Honeybone. Cameron McLean still fourth. Fifth, up into gaining a place on that lap, into fifth place, number 2 Paul Tucker. One who's dropped back on that lap, number 31 Howard Hunt with his MG ZS. He's dropped back to 10th place. So it's first number 4 by 7.8 seconds now from number 13 Dylan Brichter. Third is 44 Ray Honeybone. Fourth is 116 Colin Tester. Fifth is 126 Cameron McLean. Sixth is number 2 Paul Tucker. Seventh is 77 Jamie Ward. Eighth is 107 Ben Corby. Ninth is 57 Nick White. And 10th, number 31 Howard Hunt. Drive-through penalty for car 28. Blair Craig's Peugeot 205 for a flag infringement. But that car's a long way down the order anyway, so it's not going to affect the front places. It's down in 24th place at the moment. Leader's gone through. Here's Dylan Brichter getting away from the... It's a bit of a smoky diesel, that one. Going through in second place, Dylan Brichter. Ray Honeybone now ahead of Cameron McLean and James Tucker, Paul Tucker. Oh, we've got a car with a non-functioning transponder. So the order then, after Ray Honeybone, we've got in fourth place, number 126 Cameron McLean. In fifth place, 116 Sam Gay. And in sixth place, number 2 Paul Tucker. Seventh, up to seventh has come Howard Hunt, number 57. Sorry, 57 is Nick White. Up to 7th has come 57 Nick White. In 8th place is 77 Jamie Ward, who's lost a place. And 9th is number 107, who's also lost a place, Ben Corby. 10th is 31 Howard Hunt still. And Jack Wright is, well, it must be very low on fuel, that car, therefore very light, but Jack Wright has clambered up to 11th place, number 68 ahead of 52, the Honda Civic of Stephen McDonald. Coming in to take its drive-through penalty is car number 28, which is correct in the programme but wrong on the some other sheet that says it's 206, that's 205 certainly. Taking its drive-through penalty. James Gunn Carter's gone through, completing now 20 laps, 9 minutes to go. Dylan Brichter 11.6 seconds behind, lapping about a second and a half, nearly 2 seconds, sometimes slower than the leader. And the Lotus Elise, that was a leader, of course, at one stage, Paul Tucker's now moved up into 5th place in number 2, ahead of Sam Gay in the 116 Honda. Another change, Jack Wright has moved up into 10th place now, so he's gone to the top lane. He's moved ahead of Howard Hunt in the number 31 MGZS. And he has a little ground to make up before he gets another place or two before the end, which could be done with that car, providing it doesn't run out of fuel. As for Paul Tucker in the Lotus Elise, yes, he should get another place or two. He's got less than a second to make up on the next 2 or 3 cars ahead of him. So he might even make it to the podium. Slightly optimistic, but he could do it in the number 2 car. The Elise in 5th place at the moment. But at the moment, 3rd place occupied by Ray Honeybone, number 44. Side by side there, Sam Gay and Paul Tucker. Paul Tucker has to tuck in behind, so the Honda's got ahead as they go into Redgate. Quick group of cars there, as of course you expect them to be. They're in 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th place. In fact, they're closing up on Dylan Brichter as well. So although the leader may be decided in favour of James Gunn Carter as the winner, behind him it is still very close indeed. Jack Wright, as I mentioned, in 9th place now. He's got a second to make up, and he's lapping a second quicker than on the 8th place car, which is number 77, Jamie Ward's Ford Fiesta. James Gunn Carter 12.4 seconds ahead now, Dylan Brichter and his followers. Number 93 through is down in 22nd place now. Car that was leading behind the safety car, Craig Sampson's car, as it is now. Leader's gone through. Here's the next train of cars, with Dylan Brichter under pressure from Ray Honeybone, but defends going into Redgate to keep Ray Honeybone behind him. Behind Ray Honeybone we've got Cameron McLean in the blue Renault Clio. Then Paul Tucker in the Lotus, back ahead of Sam Gay in the Honda Civic. So any 2 of those 5 cars could be joining James Gunn Carter on the podium at the end. The class leaders, well, Class B is led by number 4, the leader of the race. Class C at the moment by 1:26, but only just Cameron McLean ahead of Paul Tucker. Class D is led by number 77, so looking for another class win, Jamie Ward. Class N is headed by 52, Stephen McDonald's Honda Civic Type R. And that covers all the classes. James Gunn Carter through, 23 laps completed. And we have 5 minutes to go. Here comes the line of cars in amongst some slower traffic. And the order remains unchanged, although the traffic mixed it all up a bit. There's the Porsche through. Now Jack Wright up into 8th place. He's got, now this is where it gets a bit more difficult. He's 5.6 seconds behind the 7th place car, which is the number 57 Nick White Renault Clio, which is lapping in fact quicker than Jack Wright. So I think Jack Wright has probably reached his peak, 8th place. Don't see that car doing better than that on the basis of their last lap times, or indeed on the basis of their best lap times. Two clears having a good little scrap there, 72 and 98 on different laps. And with the tailgate open, into the pits comes number 97, the Michael Jones, now Robert Jones, Square Foot Racing Mini JCW. It has been known for cars to carry on racing with the tailgate up, but it's a bit of an air brake. And his co-driver is trying to shut the tailgate, which doesn't want to know, it seems. Now this time through, Sam Gay has moved up into 4th place, and I think probably because he's running out of fuel, Jack Wright comes into the pits.
Yeah, it wasn't not unexpected, was it? The number 97 Mini back out with the boots now closed, but yeah, Jack Wright, who is towards pit lane entry, I'd just walked all the way down to pit lane exit, ready for the podium, into the pit lane, and also the Peugeot 205 of Blair Craig is also heading down pit road.
For the second lap in succession, I think, because I saw that car and I mentioned it a couple of laps ago. Yeah, so the Porsche, I think, it's got as high up the order as it could get. And so he's had a bit of fun in it, made the journey to Donington Park worthwhile. Right, so James Gunn Carter, got 2.5 minutes to go. James Gunn Carter leads by still over 12 seconds from Dylan Brick to Ray Honeybone. Last time through, Sam Gay was 4th. 5th was Nick White, number 57, who's made good progress. 6th, number 2, Paul Tucker in the Lotus Elise, and 7th, 52, Stephen McDonald. Dylan Brichter's car getting smokier and smokier, which possibly deters Ray Honeybone from getting too close to it, that car dishing out the particulates. So James Gunn Carter, I think, will get in 2 more laps. Mark,
yeah, so I just walked all the way up to the Wright's Porsche, and yeah, just confirmation it has run out of fuel. Being the Yorkshireman wanting to spend as little money as possible, you see, George, was it? Yeah, so big smiles all round. It's been worth the 2-hour drive. Jack was saying he was getting a little bit dangerous out there with the fuel surge that he was getting. It was going well 1 minute, starting to cough and splutter the next, so brought the car in.
Well, they made it to 8th place from quite a long way down in the teens. And thank you, Mark, for your canter back up the pit lane. Now I think you can safely head for the podium. Going over the line now. Onto his last lap goes James Gunn Carter. There's 93, which was in the lead, now moved up back up into 20th place. And it's all getting pretty fraught there for 4th place, as 3 cars just headed by Colin Tester in the 116 Honda. He took over from Sam Gay, and the Lotus is in that as well, so that is for 4th, 5th and 6th places, those 3. James Gunn Carter leading by a lot now, 15 seconds from Dylan Brichter, with Ray Honeybone in the number 44. Renault Clio in 3rd place. Who will be 4th? Any one of 3. In 7th place we've got 126. Cameron McLean has dropped back a bit in the last few laps. In 8th place, number 77, on his way to winning Class D, number 77, Jamie Ward. And in 9th place is 107, Ben Corby, in the other old car in the race, the 1989 Honda CRX. And up to the checkered flag and taking it now, number 4, James Gunn Carter. His aspirations may be modest before the day, but these turned out very, very well indeed. 2nd place will go here now to the blue-fronted grey and smoky number 13, Dylan Brichter's Big Bear Motorsport Ibiza. In 3rd place, number 57 at the flag. Now what's happened here, Nick White? Is it the Ray Honeybone car got pipped on the last lap? Yes, it did. So 3rd place taken by 57, Nick White. in his Clio, gets ahead of the Ray Honeybone, Jordan Honeybone, number 44 Clio on that last lap, and just takes that third place from the Honeybones. In fifth place, number 116 Colin Tester and Sam Gay with the Honda Civic Type R.